8th, 2025. My name is Carl Bischoff. I'm calling this meeting of the Chelmsford Conservation Commission to order. We'll be following the published and posted agenda. This meeting is both in person and through Zoom. In the case of the Zoom not working properly, we will continue the meeting in person only. This meeting is being broadcast and recorded by Chelmsford Telemedia and will be available on their website and on YouTube. And we indeed have a quorum. And I don't think there's any agenda adjustments or anything, so we can just move on into our first agenda item. Are there any comments or questions or any information from citizens that is not on our agenda that somebody would like to bring to our attention? Yes, sir.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I thought our chairman did a good job at town meeting, covering, clearing up some misunderstanding and giving people information around, the conservation areas and the coolest property in particular. So, I mean, I think it was good. It was good having the town meeting reps hear that, get that information out there, ask some questions, and you clarified a lot. So I think that was good. And again, and Chris, excellent job on the bylaws as well, too. You did a really fine job under fire. Not everybody could have done that, believe me. Go up there and neutralize questions and stay calm throughout the whole thing. So that was great. Good job, Chris.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Chris. Okay, so first up is on our agenda is Mr. Scott Venier to talk about the picture on our screen here.
Yeah, so 2 Fridays ago? Yeah,
Yep.
2 Fridays ago.
October 17th, yep.
We had a crew of 20, I think the final number came out at 24. We had a couple of no-shows. And as you can see, we built a fence. We had 3 post hole diggers going and split up into 4 crews and got them done. There were, I think, 3 segments that we had to trim the rails. Other than that, it was all in a couple of really big rocks. It all went surprisingly well. Everything just came together nicely.
Yeah, it was a good day. I got to leave early, so I didn't see the ending. But when I came back from a trip and I saw it on Monday or Tuesday, it was really pleasing to see. And I've already had comments from people who were looking for this to happen, and very, very happy that it's been done and taken care of. So, NVIDIA was the company that provided all the resources, and we really appreciate that. I will be sending a note on behalf of the commission and the town to Scott and the other NVIDIA rep that you gave me the address, and just give our appreciation. Yeah, right. So really good job. I know Mark and Bill were there for the good part of the day, most of the day, and I appreciate that support. We had a number of other volunteers in town who kind of helped keep things moving and guiding, and it was a really great effort. And Scott, I really enjoyed working with you on this and making this happen. It was a real win for the town, and what I heard from you and from the other folks working on this, your crew really enjoyed it. It sounded like they really felt like it went very well, and they were enjoying being out in the nice weather, but also
the weather
satisfaction.
Really helped. And we spend most of our time attached to a computer, so it's nice to do something physical every once in a while.
Yeah.
And we'll let's plan next fall's with a little.
Yeah. Maybe not with
a little
just
more advanced.
3 weeks,
advance.
4 weeks notice. Yeah, we did pull it off somehow. So yeah, appreciate it. Yeah.
How many sections were there, Scott? Do you know total?
It was 650 feet. I know that.
Yeah, I don't remember the final number. It was in the 60s.
Yeah.
65, 68, something like that.
That was a great accomplishment for that amount of sections for that a group of people who don't normally do it.
Yeah.
To work all day, they pushed right to the end, and it looks beautiful. You did a great job. I can't believe you did that much work that one day. You did a great job.
What time did you finish up? I left at 5:30.
I was closing up the parking lot, last one out, right at almost 6 on the dot.
Really? No. You did those guys did a great job.
Yeah. You know what, too, Carl? We have to hand it to the other volunteers that went out a couple days before and removed all the old fence, got them all out of there, actually took them to someone's house that's gonna burn the
Firewood.
firewood, and got it all cleaned up for you. The whole thing really runs nice. There was the volunteers, a couple of volunteers made jigs and things for you guys to use, and I
Yeah,
don't know, it
the
was
volunteers were great.
Yeah, those guys-
They had the witness sticks, they called them.
Yeah.
And just the collection of tools, most of the tools that we used were just out of their garage. And yeah, we absolutely could not have done it without their guidance.
No, it was great.
And I also want to thank the owners of Maxwell's site for letting us park there, because that was a real help to be able to let 20 or so cars park in that lot for that day. It was very, very nice of them to let us do that.
So how long should this fence last?
Longer than me.
I'm going to guess everyone, maybe Ally might be replacing it at some point.
Do the math. Pull out the tape measure. That's all I'm gonna say.
25 years is probably, for that kind of a fence, although, we put in stone underneath they should last a long, long time. It is a pressure-treated southern pine. So it should last a long time, yeah.
Nice.
And it came from Chelmsford Lumber, a town,
Chelmsford Lumber, we bought it through them, yep.
a
Yep,
town business.
yep,
Can I,
yeah, sure.
hi, Scott. Pretty cool. I had two questions. The first is there something the collective we can do for the foundation that sponsored this? Is there any?
Yeah, I mean, this
I
is.
don't know what that might be, but.
Yeah, a thank you note, but from
Oh,
Carl,
well, yeah,
certainly.
there's that, but.
This is what the NVIDIA Foundation exists
Yeah.
for, to give a way for the employees to give back to their communities and strengthen
Yeah.
those community ties. So
Yeah.
this is what we're meant to be doing.
And I was just curious, we could talk offline, but have you thought about an article in town manager's newsletter or Land Trust or Concom websites, or, I don't know,
No, actually,
something, some way to highlight?
yeah, you're
others?
welcome to post about the new fence or something like that, but NVIDIA
Okay.
and the NVIDIA Foundation are not looking for any sort of publicity
Yeah.
out of this.
Okay, I think we should post something to the commission's webpage.
Yeah, there is some stuff on Facebook that was posted. Dave Sperry got some stuff posted, but we could put something definitely on our Facebook, we don't have a Facebook, but on our website page, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and we're starting to use, as you know, the town manager's newsletter to highlight conservation stuff.
Mhm.
Okay, well, one of us may reach out to you. Thank you.
So,
Or one of your neighbors who you have met would reach out to you on communication, yeah.
Right.
Thanks.
yeah, no problem there.
Thank you, Scott.
Right.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Have a
Thank
good
you.
night. All right, and next up, tag team here, yeah, thank you. Hello, this is the report of the planning board liaison. Hello, Chris, good evening.
Good evening. Chris Lavalley, Chair of the Planning Board. As was mentioned earlier, we had a pretty busy week last week for the Planning Board. We were very successful in our zoning articles at town meeting. We did pass the CB light zoning. We were able to apply it to Kate's Corner. And we passed a number of other zoning bylaws to help clean up our current bylaws and make them updated. On last Wednesday, we also had a pretty long planning board meeting. We approved the A&R for Old Westford Road. I think it was the third time they were before us with yet another configuration of those properties. 10 Independence Drive, it was our first public hearing on that, where they're putting a pizza restaurant and 15 apartments into that hotel, the old hotel complex. Riverneck Road is ongoing. I think we're pretty close to closing that hearing out in the next meeting or two. 133 Princeton Street was before us with some modifications of that liquor store. 152 Stedman had no hearing last week and a continuation. And then our next meeting, November 12th, is going to be another long meeting. We're covering all of those hearings, plus 2 more on the new fire stations that they're proposing. So it'll be another long meeting.
Any questions for Chris?
We don't have a second meeting in November, and we'll also have one in December, so,
Yeah, I think we're similar. We have one in November.
yeah.
And I think we have 2 in December, yeah.
Yeah, our second one was Christmas Eve, so
You're not gonna meet?
we're not
no?
going to meet.
I don't know what's wrong with you guys, come on.
No,
All
we
right.
have 1 and 1.
All right,
All right, thanks.
thanks, Chris. All right, regulatory hearings. Next up, notice of intent, New England Power Company, 100 Ecuador Road. Bridget Hilgendorf, Vanessa Hangen Bruslin, Inc., representing the applicant. And do we have somebody,
We have a hearing notice.
hearing notice, okay?
Hearing notice. Pursuant to the provisions of the Massachusetts Wetlands Protection Act, Mass General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, and the Chelmsford Wetlands Bylaw, Chapter 187. The Chelmsford Conservation Commission will conduct a public hearing here in Room 204 at the Chelmsford Town Offices on Tuesday, October 28th, 2025, at 7 p.m. to consider the notice of intent filed by property owner New England Electric Company for proposed work within riverfront area, bordering land subject to flooding, River Meadowbrook, and 100-foot buffer zone to bordering vegetated wetlands, and inland bank at 100 Ecuador Road, further identified as Assessors Map 53/Block 187/Lot 4. The project entails expansion and improvements to upgrade and modernize the existing Meadowbrook Substation Number 16, including paved driveway access, paved substation equipment access, utility infrastructure improvements, including replacement of electrical equipment, bus supports, foundations, and duct banks to support the intended use. Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Chris. I have to say, I never heard of Ecuador Road in Chelmsford until this filing. It was hard to find, but, so here we are. Do we have somebody on the Zoom, I presume?
Bridget, you there?
Yes, I'm here. Can everyone hear me okay?
We hear you
Yep.
loud and clear.
Awesome. Yep, I'm Bridget Hilgendorf, environmental scientist with VHB, and with me as well is Tim Sullivan with National Grid.
Okay, welcome. Can you present your project?
Absolutely. I see you have the plans pulled up. So I also have the GIS mapping. I don't know if that might be more helpful for me to pull up or if you guys have that as well. If not, these plans work great to look at.
I don't think it really makes a difference.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bridget?
Yeah, no worries. Okay, great. Yep, so as mentioned, this is at 100 Ecuador Road in Chelmsford at the existing Meadowbrook substation. And as you can see on the plans, a portion of the project also extends over that Chelmsford-Lowell town line. So there's access proposed off of Reese Avenue in Lowell, and we've submitted a notice of intent to the Lowell Conservation Commission as well, just for everyone's awareness. To get everyone just oriented with the site, the project consists of the existing substation and its associated gravel access road, as well as portions of the adjacent maintained utility right-of-way. And it's bound by Route 3 to the west, the utility right-of-way, and 495 to the south, commercial properties and large parking areas to the north and east, as well as the Meadowbrook River to the north. And so with this, we're also located in proximity and within wetland resource areas. So we have the 200-foot riverfront area associated with the Meadowbrook River, which extends through the majority of the substation footprint, bordering vegetated wetlands to the east and southeast of the substation and the access road, areas of bordering land subject to flooding to the north and east, and then we also have the 100-foot buffer zone, as well as the locally established 50-foot no building area, 30-foot no impervious area, and that 25-foot no disturbance zone to bank and BBW. And so in terms of work, we do have some work proposed within the resource areas. So the majority of work will be taking place within the substation footprint itself, and this will primarily consist of replacing the existing electrical equipment, as was mentioned, as well as removing the existing control house and installing a paved access driveway. And so this is entirely within the previously developed riverfront area within that gravel substation footprint. It's not extending beyond the existing substation footprint. And portions will also be within the 100-foot buffer zone and 50-foot no building zone to bank within the substation. There's no new structures proposed within that 50-foot no build zone or impervious surfaces within the 30-foot no impervious area. The project also proposes to improve the existing gravel access driveway outside of the substation footprint, so within the right-of-way. And the goal here is just to make it a more uniform width and paving it to ensure basically long-term and reliable access to the site. And again, that widening and grading to provide drainage, as well as installing stormwater detention basins and improving an existing basin out there to provide treatment for these access improvements. And all of this is proposed outside the substation within upland areas and within the 100-foot buffer zone to BBW. Beyond that, a small portion of work is proposed within bordering land subject to flooding in the northwest corner of the substation. But in terms of work here, there won't be any ground disturbance or changes in elevation. We're just installing erosion control, so just a temporary impact noted there again. No work, just installing the erosion control. And there's also a small portion of work proposed in the southeast corner of the substation that does extend into the 25-foot no disturb area. And so we are requesting a waiver for this portion of the work. But what this includes is just grading this corner out a bit in order to convey runoff to the existing and proposed stormwater basins, as well as the installation of erosion controls in here. So this disturbance in that 25-foot buffer zone, it will be restored to, it'll be stabilized at the end of the work. Right now, I believe the edge of the substation there is gravel, and some of it may be vegetated. So it'll either be stabilized in current conditions, so seeded in some manner. And beyond that, Tim, I don't know if there's anything else you wanted to add.
No, thanks. Thank you, Bridget.
Great. I think that sort of sums it up if there's any questions from the commission.
Okay, David, you've been out to the site?
Yes.
Do you have any comments?
A couple. So Bridget, again, what are the waivers that are needed under the local bylaw?
I believe just the work within the 25-foot no disturb in that southeast corner.
The southeast corner. Which sheet is that shown on? Do you know?
If you keep going through the plans, I believe, oh, a bit too far. Yeah, right there. You can see the grading right below the cursor.
The
To the right a
southeast.
bit.
That's right.
Yep.
Okay. So I this is something that's for the public benefit. I think the commission can and should grant the waiver easily. I think the main issue of concern to the commission here is compliance with the performance standards for work in degraded riverfront area. At the site visit, I suggested to Bridget that this is a really good opportunity to do some invasive management along the brook, the edge of the River Meadow Brook. In fact, it's probably maybe just as much restoration as management. I mean, it looks like it's entirely invasives at this point. So have you had a chance to think about that anymore, Bridget? I think that would be a good way to satisfy the regulations. Have you started putting together an invasive management plan?
Yeah, Tim, I know you and I briefly discussed. I don't know if we had any progress here, further discussions.
Sure. Yeah, thanks, Bridget. Bridget did relay that to me. I'm open to exploring it. I haven't had a chance to get the right people out on the site visit. I do think there's going to be some challenges there. Couple kind of that come right off the top of my head is we have several overhead lines that leave the substation to the north there. So there's going to be areas that we're going to need to maintain for clearance. Also, I understand there's quite a bit of bittersweet back there. I have not been back here in several years. So, bittersweet is fairly difficult to manage. And if there's a considerable population right to the west here in the Route 3 corridor, we may be fighting an uphill battle there. And then the third issue is because the river is, I believe, a source to, or maybe up gradient of the town, some of the town's drinking water wells, we'd be limited to some mechanical means. So I need a little bit of time and some additional expertise here to have a site visit and take a look and see what we think we actually could accomplish back here.
I actually don't think the use of chemicals is an issue with the water department. I can confirm that with them. They, at the very least, they can provide a list of chemicals that they don't like to see. But in my experience, you know, the typical ones used for management of invasive species, you know, things like Roundup, they don't have a problem with. I can, as I say, I can certainly confirm that with them.
That would be helpful. I believe we don't. I believe we have that area. Our vegetation management crews have relayed to me that we have that area as a no herbicide use area in our system.
Okay.
Sorry, can you say that again? As a what? As a,
A location where we don't use herbicides.
got it, okay, okay.
And then just the other thing is the peer review of the stormwater management or compliance with the stormwater regulations. The DPW has declined to do it for this project, but my recommendation of the commission is to get it peer reviewed by an outside peer reviewer.
Okay, all right, thank you. Peter, do you have any questions on this project, on this application?
Yeah. I think this location is downstream of the drinking water wells. So we can think about that relative to invasive plan. Bridget, a question that I'm sure is in your plans, but I could not find it. The current gravel access road that this plan calls for paving, is it the same footprint as, is the paved area the same footprint as the current gravel road, roughly?
Outside of the substation.
Yeah, around the perimeter, yeah.
So within the perimeter of the substation there, that's currently gravel. So they're essentially proposing to pave an access in here due to some rutting and access concerns that have happened in the past. So they would be creating an access that's currently gravel at this time. So it'd become a uniform, I believe it's 12 feet across within the substation footprint.
Okay.
But I think the paving is outside the commission's jurisdiction, isn't it?
Yeah, and I'm just trying to understand the project. I really just have one other comment. David, I agree with what you were saying. I just want to make a comment. When you mentioned or asked you a question, David, when we talked about the possibility of some sort of invasive management plan, can that include some sort of replanting of native something or other that belong on the riverbank?
Well, I think ideally, yes, you know, some sort of active restoration. You know, in theory anyway, if the invasives are kept out, the native vegetation should come back eventually. You know, how gradual that will be, I don't know. It would be good to have, you know, a professional, you know, assessment, you know, a professional review of that issue. But I mean, really, the regulations have to be satisfied, and the regulations say when you're working in degraded riverfront area, there has to be some sort of improvement to existing conditions. I haven't had a chance yet to read DEP's comments, but I would assume that they would agree with that.
Okay, no other questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter. Ally?
Yep.
You're okay?
I'm good
Hello,
for now,
Chris,
Carl.
you're good? Okay. Mr. Mark?
I guess you brought the point up that most of the paving, the proposed paving around this loop is gonna be outside of our jurisdictions anyways. But I'm not keen on doing that there. putting down an impervious material that close to the edge. Why can't you keep it gravel, just maintenance?
Sorry, I can answer that. So as Bridget mentioned, the existing road that leads to the substation, we'll call that the driveway, which would be paged down here. There's a couple of spots along the road that we frequently have flooding, and then also, once the road has been flooded, just issues with having to restore it constantly and everything like that. That location is predominantly in Lowell, but that's kind of the reasoning for the driveway section. When you get into the substation itself, the underlying soils and a lot of it, I guess for lack of a better way of putting it, are poor. So, for instance, what I would say is the bottom of the loop here, as we're showing on the screen, we've already taken some measures to try to improve the ability to get vehicles in there. There's a geogrid under a large section of the gravel substation, substation base. We're still, from what I understand from our operations and maintenance folks, having issues getting trucks in and out of there during certain times of the year, spring predominantly, and having those vehicles stuck. So it's been we kind of have two different projects going on here. We have some maintenance work essentially on the substation, but at this point, we also have kind of a continuing issue with access that we both want to have in place for this project, because some of the items we're bringing in are on the larger and heavier side, but generally for the station itself, to try to eliminate that that consistent issue that we have with access.
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay.
Uh,
Bill?
Yep. You said part of this is in Lowell. Have you been before Lowell Conservation yet?
Yes, Tim, I know I wasn't at that meeting, but we did bring this before them. I don't know if there's any updates you want to give, Tim.
So
Yeah, we were in front of them last week. I can't recall the day off the top of my head. Presented the project. At that point, they did not have the file number from DEP, so we agreed to a continuance.
okay. So if we ask for a peer review, how are we going to reconcile our peer review with Lowell? Is one going to handle just our part of the site and Lowell going to do their part of the site, or is each going to do the entire site? How's that going to work?
That's an interesting point. At this point, Lowell has not requested a peer review at all. Well, they haven't requested any peer review or a peer review specific to the stormwater system. I will say it does create a challenge because we're in both components of the stormwater treatment system, which would have to work in unison, are in both communities.
Right.
So I guess hypothetically, if Chelmsford, asked for a significant redesign, that potentially would result in some change downstream in Lowell that would have to happen there as well.
So you'll know better what they're looking for at the next meeting with them, because you've just been continued up till now, right? So I think that we need to figure that out if we're going to do a peer review, and how that's going to work with Lowell's.
I can ask a prospective peer reviewer whether they can review just what's in Chelmsford, whether that makes sense or not.
I don't,
I would think
you have to be the whole project.
do the whole
Yeah.
project for both towns, and then, I don't know if you say offer it to Lowell or something like that.
So when are you meeting again with the Lowell Commission?
So the next meeting with Lowell, I believe, is November 12th. Tim, is that when we are continued to?
I'm quickly looking, but that sounds correct.
So how would you like to proceed with this? I mean, do you feel comfortable asking them about their opinion of, peer review of the stormwater?
They don't want to bring
I feel like we had enough of a discussion with them that they did not. If they were going to request a peer review through the conservation process, they would have let us know that. But I can certainly discuss that. We can certainly discuss that with the agent and confirm that.
Yeah, if you could confirm that and get back to me. This commission isn't meeting again until November 25th. I guess what are commission members' feelings if Lowell isn't going to require it? Do you think there's any point in having us require it?
Well, I'm looking at the plan, and it looks like, if I'm reading this right, the majority of everything is in our property, other than a chunk of the gravel driveway. Most of it's in Chelmsford. So I still would think that it makes sense, because, when you're making this kind of a change on the driveway, adding pavement, I think having stormwater review in this resource area is important, having a peer review. That's what I think.
So Carl, you're thinking that Chelmsford should have the portion in Lowell peer reviewed as well?
It's not, am I reading this right? It's just that second half of that, it's the bottom half of that gravel drive, right?
Well, I know you see where this
Yep.
this is all in Lowell right here.
Yep.
So
The
yeah, and
compensatory area.
I think so, because it all works as a system,
yeah,
to me.
yeah.
So I would say yes. If that's going to affect how things work on our side, then I would say yes.
I agree with that. I don't think you could do a proper peer review without the
whole-
entire project.
Yeah.
The waiver I'm fine with, it's for grading purposes. And, obviously, we want to upgrade the site so that you don't have problems with the trucks getting stuck or whatever. So we want to work with you, but I think my biggest question was a peer review and how we'd work on the entire site with Lowell. And
Well, assuming that the whole system needs to be peer reviewed.
we can ask them to do the,
Okay, so
Lowell
you
and-
want me to do that?
Yes.
Then? Okay. It's all Bridget and Timothy. It's all one stormwater report, right?
Yes, the same stormwater report was submitted to Lowell as was submitted to Chelmsford.
Okay, then that makes sense.
yeah, that's all I had, Colin.
Okay, John?
The peer review. We're only asking for the peer review because Chelmsford's DPW is not reviewing this project?
Correct. And I don't know why. They didn't give me a
I'm
reason.
not comfortable with that. It's for safety. Everything they're doing, the grid works, everything is safety. We all know that. They run a clean site, they do things in a professional way. Everybody goes home at the end of the day with the grid. I don't even think we need a peer review for this, in my opinion. It's 12 feet of pavement. It's not that big a deal.
Well, we
That's
can-
my opinion.
Yeah, we can take a vote on that, if that makes sense, yeah. Yeah,
I had just one more question, Bridget and Timothy. I should have asked it earlier, which apologize that I didn't. So just for purposes of clarification, is there an increase in impervious surface proposed for the riverfront area? And if so, how much is it? What is the square footage?
Yeah, so the answer is yes, there is an increase of impervious within the riverfront. And let me just get that number. It's about 6,851 square feet, and it's strictly associated with the portion of the the paved driveway within riverfront.
Okay.
The remainder of work in the riverfront will just be replacing the existing equipment, so that won't add an addition.
So thank you, Bridget. But I think under the regulations, then, strictly speaking, if there's an increase in impervious surface, this is considered new development rather than redevelopment. I mean, I can confirm that, but think that's the case.
And what's the implication of that, David?
Well, if it's new development, then you know, it has to satisfy the stormwater requirements for new development, and maybe it does. Bridget and Timothy?
I would have to confirm that with our engineers that worked on this.
Okay. I mean, as long as it, complies with the stormwater standards for new development, then that satisfies the regulations, but also it sort of, it emphasizes that much more the need to comply with the performance standards for work in degraded riverfront area, in my opinion. I can certainly, again, talk to DEP about that, and I will do that. See what their opinion is.
Okay. All right, so I heard from John that he's not in favor of doing a peer review, and I think it makes sense for us to take a vote on that as a commission. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So,
I'd like to hear from both sides, pro and con, about doing the peer review. Is there enough work, enough things being changed that we think a peer review would make sense? Or is it so minor that we really don't need it?
Well, the only thing I can say is that, both this board and the planning board typically have stormwater peer reviewed. If you're going to decide to do it for one project and not another project, I think you have to have some sort of, a clear criteria on which you're going to base that, and how you're going to select that. So, that's my 2 cents worth on that.
And from the
yeah,
applicant's point of view, is there a reason why you don't think that it requires a peer review?
that would be for you, Timothy, or Bridget.
Yeah,
Sure,
Tim,
I think there. Go
Go ahead.
thanks, Bridget. Yeah.
go ahead.
Yeah, I think some commissions will require peer reviews and some will not. So, if this is the typical process for the Chelmsford Conservation Commission, then I think that's the purview. That's the decision of the commission.
So my thoughts are that it is, along what David said, but even maybe more so, is that this is sitting right on a riverfront area, right in a resource area that really needs to be protected, and that's kind of where I'd want to just be rock solid on this. That's my thoughts. Anybody else?
Well, I agree with what you're saying, and I think Dave brings up a good point. Is it new development or redevelopment?
I think this is redevelopment.
I'm happy to jump in. I actually just pulled up our stormwater report, and it looks like it was completed for new development.
New development?
Okay. So that means you're saying that it meets the requirements of new development, which is good. That's good.
Well,
But it doesn't change my my thought that we should have it peer reviewed.
Well, and if you do go forward with the peer review, the reviewer will look at compliance with the standards for new development.
Okay. All right, so, yep, Peter, go ahead.
Yeah, I guess my thoughts are that this commission has, as somebody mentioned, done peer reviews. It is great that we have our town stormwater engineers at DPW doing stormwater reviews, because none of us are stormwater design engineers. In this case, our in-house resources don't do it, so the outside peer review makes sense. The other reason it makes sense to me is this is one of our important rivers, although it obviously has been channelized in the past and it's not quite as pristine as upstream, admittedly. But it is a pretty big change to go from a gravel small driveway to a larger paved. So, and construction of all these basins changes hydrology of the riverfront and how things drain. So to me, it would be logical to get a second opinion on compliance.
Okay. So I'll take a motion to vote on whether or not we should recommend a peer review for the, what's the address here again? For the 100 Ecuador, how could I forget, 100 Ecuador Road.
I make a motion that we request a peer review of the stormwater treatment system for this project.
Motion from Chris, second from Mark. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? John. Okay, so it's 6-1. I think that's what I saw, 6-1, 6 yeas and 1 nay. Okay. So.
I would still like to hear what Lowell has to say about
Yeah,
that.
yeah, that would be good to hear as well. I agree. Okay, so there's any other questions on this other than, I think we need to get that to happen. You said we have a DEP number?
I think we do. Have you checked, Bridget, on that, whether there's a DEP number yet?
We do have the number. It's 1290974.
And did they submit any comments?
I did not see any the last time I checked before the meeting.
Okay, they don't necessarily provide the comments at the same time they assign the file number, but I will give them a call. So for the next meeting, before the next meeting, this week I'll go out with an RFP for the review of the stormwater, and I'll provide that to you, Bridget, as soon as I get that back. But I think, again, the performance standards for work in degraded riverfront area, I think that has to be addressed. And I think the easiest way to do it in this case would be invasive management. But I think if you could please address that issue for the next meeting.
Yeah, Carl, so I agree. I think that's an important kind of hot button for all the commission. We want to talk about invasive management at the next meeting.
Okay.
Can
Yeah, Peter, go ahead.
Just want to make a comment to clarify what Bill said, or at least this is my view, is I think we do want to support this project. And one reason is we are a conservation commission, and this is part of the electrification of the grid, and it'll make the grid more reliable. And if you do the math, that has a big public benefit, yeah, but it also has a conservation benefit by keeping the power flowing to all of our new heat pumps and those that have bought electric vehicles. So I think this is a very important kind of project for our conservation goals. So I think, yeah.
All right, so we'll look for that, and we will continue. Our next meeting isn't until November 25th, so it's a month out.
I make a motion, Carl, that we continue this public hearing until our next meeting of November 25.
I think we should ask if there's any input from the public first. This is a public meeting. Is there anyone from the public here that would like to speak on this project? I don't see anyone coming up.
Is there anyone on Zoom who wants to?
Okay, sorry, Chris. Proceed. So, motion from Chris. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Ally. So the motion is to continue until November 25th. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, and that passes. So we will see you November 25th. In the meantime, you'll be in touch with David.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
okay. Bridget and Tim, thank you very much for your presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Next up, we have notice of intent. This is continued from August 12th. ProGeneration Energy, Inc., 152 Stedman Street. Bruce Haskell, Langdon Environmental LLC, representing the applicant. And this, again, this has been continued.
Yes, although I think it would be good just to read the legal notice again, because it was so long ago.
Yeah, so, but we should also say that we are going to hear a brief presentation, and we are not going to have any discussion as the abutter notices were not sent out properly.
Not in
And so we
time.
will end up redoing this at our next meeting, but we still would like to have a brief presentation. So Chris, if you would, read the notification again, please.
Mr. Chair, the legal notice pursuant to the provisions of the Massachusetts Wetlands Protection Act, Mass General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, and the Chelmsford Wetlands Bylaw, Chapter 187, the Chelmsford Conservation Commission will conduct a public hearing in Room 204 at the town offices on Tuesday, October 28, 2025, at 7 p.m. to consider the notice of intent filed by ProGeneration Energy, Inc. on behalf of property owner Sandbanks LLC for proposed work within a 100-foot buffer zone to bordering vegetated wetlands and isolated land subject to flooding at 152 Stedman Street, further identified as Assessors Parcel Map 32/Block 110, Lot 1. The project entails the installation of solar photovoltaic system on top of capped solid waste landfill on the property. Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Chris. Good evening, Mr. Haskell. Let's hear, as I said, a brief presentation on your project.
I can be very brief here.
Thank you.
So let me know. I'll probably take about 10 minutes of time here to talk about the project. Again, my name is Bruce Haskell with Langdon Environmental. I'm the engineer for the project. I'm joined by Drew Henley of ProGeneration on Zoom, and he's representing the proponent. Sandbanks LLC is the owner of the property. I don't know if there's anybody on Zoom related to them. I just thought today I'd give you a quick site history, and I will repeat all of this on the 25th. It's your next meeting out there. This site was, I've been in front of this commission when the site was capped. It was originally part of the Lowell landfill. It's right on the Lowell-Chelmsford line. And it was part of that operation by a private entity that operated both sides of the street, both sides of the town line for a solid waste disposal facility for decades. In the 1990s, all the landfill solid waste, trash, was dug out of this site, the Glenview landfill site, and put into the Lowell landfill, and that was capped in the mid-90s as part of that. So there is no trash, per se, on the Glenview landfill property. The Glenview landfill was capped over about a 20-year period. There was 2 runs at it. Final capping was completed around 2015-16 and included the importing of historic fills type soils, like from different projects around the Boston and eastern Massachusetts area. There's been an environmental assessment of the site in accordance with the solid waste regulations, which are really the overriding regulations for everything that goes on here, done by DEP. That's substantially complete, and I can talk in a lot more detail when we get into the detail of what was found and what was the contaminants of concern and the issues with the site that were out there. The project is simply 3 components. It's to install a solar photovoltaic, and if you could just skim down a couple of sheets here. Sorry, this is the locus.
This one?
Keep going, if you could. There's a colored plan. It's like the final site plan. So we're going to install solar voltaic systems in 2 areas. One is on the top plateau. Again, it's got a cap on it, so nothing can really penetrate that cap and dig holes in it. So essentially they're ballasted systems, concrete blocks, trays filled with concrete materials with solar panels on that. I imagine those are similar to what was installed in the town landfill. You see them throughout the Commonwealth. There's probably 50 plus solid waste landfills with similar systems. And those are the sort of east to west running lines across the top of the site. The site on the side slopes, the intent is to install a product called closure turf, which is used to cap landfills on top of the existing cap, so it'll almost have a double cap, and then install a material known as power cap, which essentially adheres to the closure turf material. The closure turf material, the closest site I know of that has it is the Haverhill landfill. It's right off 495 at the 125 interchange. There you can see it. It's a green. It's green in the winter. That's what I'll say, because it's not a grass. It's almost like a turf surface with an integrated cap built into it. There, the power cap actually sticks to the side of that and is along the side slopes. The nice thing about it is it gives a lot of density of solar development on that area, and is very easy to install, repair, replace, maintain on the site out there. The third component of the site, sort of shown in the rectangle in the center of the site, is a battery storage facility, which will have battery storage, which has a lot of advantages for putting electricity back into the grid. and keeping that system operable out there. Just to point out, while this is 152 Stedman Street, an address in Chelmsford, Stedman Street runs about where it says stop share there, over there. There is no access off of Stedman Street to the site. The access is through the old Lowell landfill driveway in Lowell out there, and it has been for decades out there. We had Ecotech do the delineation of the landfill. The delineation was very similar to what was done in 2014 or so for the closure, which makes sense. It's a landfill that comes down very steep into the wetlands, so you wouldn't expect a lot of movement of the resource areas. There's no direct impacts to BVW or isolated IVW. It's all buffer zone impacts within the site. Out there, we're staying out of the 25-foot no build, no disturbance buffer established by the commission's regulations. So we're doing that. To do that, we did have to revamp the stormwater system for two reasons. One is by putting the closure turf on the side slopes, we changed the characteristics of the slopes and everything. And the second is the design storms that DEP requires from us because we're on a landfill. When we did this in 2014, it was a couple inches less per 100-year storm than it is today. So the basin had to be expanded and revamped to accommodate that. Our permitting status right now, we're in front of the planning board for site plan approval. We've presented to them. We plan on presenting and responding to comments. The only comments we've received from the town boards were from the fire department, the DPW for peer review, which I'll talk about briefly, and from the assessor's office. There. So we're responding to those comments, revising the plans that are in front of you right now. We have what's known as a post-closure use plan in accordance with the solid waste management regulations that DEP promulgated. That permit, essentially, if you put anything on top of a landfill, they require you to show that it can be done safely, protective of human health, safety, and environment, and not damaging the cap out there. So all of this has been sort of calculated with that, and we've provided copies of that to the town planning board. As we mentioned, we've gone through peer review for the site plan approval process and for the stormwater. Weston & Sampson was retained by the town for that review. We've received their first set of comments, and we're in the process of going back and forth with them to address their comments. They had a couple of comments about the stormwater handbook standards that we'll address, and generally said the project was in compliance with those standards out there. One of the big questions they asked that we will talk about further on the 25th is the construction sequencing and how that's going to be done to ensure that there's not a lot of open area as we move through the closure turf reconstruction out there. We have a DEP file number as of 7:30 this morning or so, and they did not have any technical comments based on the email that the circuit rider shared with David and myself there. So with that, I think we would request a continuance to the hearing to the 25th. I certainly can answer anything you'd like, but I respect your, that's not what you.
I think other than a clarification question, I'd prefer that we keep this, no comments or anything like that, but just keep this to if you have a clarification question, Peter, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Hi, Bruce, Peter. Good presentation, thanks. Simple question. What's on the ground, on the top of the landfill? Now, the sides will have this material I'm not familiar with, but I understand what you described. Nothing's growing. Mm-hmm. But what is the vegetation plan for the flat part of the project?
So the flat part right now is grassed out there, if you see it out there. Essentially, the ballasts just get put right on the grass in an area. This is the cement or the things get put right on the grass. There's some leveling that's done with it to make it stable, either with some filter fabric type material or stone. But they're just really plopped on the grass, and that's a pretty standard process that most of these projects do on flat areas.
Thank you very much. I'll take a motion to continue until the
I move,
25th of November.
I move, Mr. Chairman, that we continue this hearing until November 25th, 2025. And at that point, the public would have received their notices, and they'll have a chance to come in and.
Yeah, the notices were mailed last Thursday, so it will be good.
And I'll just point out as well that a representative or representatives from Weston & Sampson who have done the peer review will be here as well.
Oh, good.
Excellent.
Okay.
Excellent.
Motion from Chris, do we have a second?
Second.
Second from Ally, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Great. Thank you very much, and have a good evening.
Thank you.
you.
Thank you for the presentation, okay. Very good, very good. So next up, we have nothing, I think, nothing under discussion and nothing under continual business, although I have a couple of things I want. Do you have anything you had for there? I wanted to make a comment that we do now have an approved open space and recreation plan. 2025, that is good for 10 years now. It's a 10-year plan instead of 7. So we are now eligible for state grants. And again, I would really like to thank everybody involved in getting that plan approved, getting it put together and approved. It's 128 pages without all the attachments, I think.
Yes,
So,
yes.
and it is on our website right now.
The webpage,
It's,
yes.
on the webpage. It's missing, we still have the
The appendices.
appendices
what
we
need.
still need to add.
So,
It's a good plan.
It's a, yeah,
Yeah,
that was a good project.
I'm very
Good project.
proud of it. I think
Yeah, you
the
should be.
group
You should
did a
be.
nice job, did a
Yeah.
really good job. Another thing, just a reminder, Peter and Chris and David, that we would like to have a bylaws and regs meeting next Tuesday, a week from tonight. So,
Yeah.
yes, everyone else is off till November 25th, but we're gonna jump in.
Yeah, 6:30, 6:30.
6:30.
Yeah, I'll post that on Thursday. You know, send me any requests for agenda items you have. I mean, you have a pretty good idea already.
Yeah,
I mean,
I sent an email with kind of where we were, and I think if you just go back and look at that email,
Okay.
it.
That was a
pretty
good
much-
summary.
Yeah, I think it's pretty,
We're getting close to wrapping
Yeah.
it up and
Yeah,
maybe sending
I think
something
so.
off to town council
I-
for advice.
yeah, I think the intent would be that we can make a proposal in that meeting that can go to town council, and then when we come back on the 25th, we ought to be able to close this out. Hopefully,
But everybody's welcome to the 6:30 meeting
Yep.
next Tuesday.
Yep,
I mean, feel free.
all right.
I can't promise it'll be too exciting, but it's kind of dry, relatively dry discussion of the regulations.
Room 205 if you're coming.
Yep, yep. All right, land management, conservation site updates. Chris, do you have anything on the Crooked Spring?
I mean, it looks good. I mean, the volunteers are doing a great job keeping the parking lot perfectly clear and clean, and trails look pretty good. There is that bridge out in the back, does need some attention, you know, it's got a couple of those little holes in it.
Oh, yeah,
Spray
yeah.
painted,
Over by
so-
the lagoon,
By the lagoon.
yeah.
Yeah, so that might be, I
Yeah.
mean, if there's a way of
Good point.
doing at least some
Yeah.
repair, I'd hate to see, like, when we get into winter,
Yeah.
a little coating of snow and somebody steps their
Yeah,
foot
good
in
point.
there and
Take a look at
injure
that.
themselves.
Okay.
But other than that, it looks good.
Okay, Mark, so we talked about Red Wing.
Red Wing, yeah, we can't say enough about what the people, volunteers did down there. It looks unbelievably well, good. And I went over to Lime Quarry, and I saw those cones there. I have no idea. They're from Department of
They're
Transportation.
still there? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. That was
Yeah.
this afternoon.
So you wonder if they fell off a truck or?
They're all stacked pretty neat.
Yeah, and they're nice and new ones.
Yeah, they are.
These are nice orange DOT cones in the parking
Yeah.
lot. Don't know what they're. what's
a
going on,
gift.
but- Yeah, it's a gift.
Great.
Well, you know, we have talked about having them fix that fence that,
Oh, yeah.
you know, the chain link fence between our site and the
Best area.
rest area. And it's been knocked down in places by downed trees significantly. And they need to get in there and fix it. And I think we've notified them more than once, but I don't know. It'd be nice to have them get in there and fix it.
Good luck.
Yeah, I know. Peter, anything on Thanksgiving? I know Jeff sent out.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, I saw your email tonight, yeah.
Yeah, the signs are being delivered tomorrow, supposedly, to DPW. So we'll get them in play. It was, I learned something about getting signs made. I took the lovely draft that you put together, Carl, and kind of naively sent that in to the sign people, and they were smart enough to contact me and say, you know, it's going to look fuzzy when we blow it up. So we took care of that.
Good. So
Yeah.
this is for the dogs, for
The dogs
on a
must be
leash.
leashed.
Yeah, so, you know, this is a town ordinance, a town law,
Right.
to have
Right.
dogs on a leash, and we've had a number of issues on our sites, including Carlisle just had another serious incident.
Another.
Really?
At the Cranberry Bog on their side.
Oh, jeez.
With dog off leash, so attacking another dog, so.
And we can talk offline, but I think you were suggesting 2 at Thanksgiving Forest?
Yeah, I think the two main, the one from the Carlisle side, Thanksgiving, yes, by Great Brook,
Yep.
that entrance, and then one at the Janet Road entrance. The other entrance doesn't get used that much, and it's,
And
yeah,
the remaining 3 I'll just take possession of, and you can
well,
advise me or others where you'd like to put
yeah, I
them.
definitely would like to put one at the Cranberry Bog.
You want me
yeah.
to stick one there at the beginning, or you want to do it
If you want to
Together?
stick one right there by the trail,
I don't know.
just beyond the,
just as easy as my garage?
yeah.
Then
yeah,
there's
sure.
2 more, which we could use as replacements.
Yeah, one at Warren Pole.
Okay.
It's
And
a
then
long
one-
ways
one
from your
backup.
house, yeah.
All right, and then, yeah, so that's the Thanksgiving Forest update. There were 2 other quick things can I throw on the table, land management? There's public outreach and land management, but there's a pollinator task force being developed by NIMCOG, and I can't remember, David, if they reached out to you or me, but Chelmsford is supporting this, and the idea is it's our friend Megan Tenhoff, who worked with us on the open space plan, is trying to get generate more interest in pollinator gardens, and we're actually supporting another town, but the idea is to develop a workshop that can be brought back to Chelmsford. And Giancarlo and a couple of the folks from Thanksgiving Forest have offered to be part of this initial planning process. So hopefully we'll end up with a pre-packaged workshop that the Concom could sponsor, at the library or whatever, if we wanted to down the road. But that's kind of neat that the expertise developed here in town is being joined with a few other towns with a goal of promoting pollinator gardens. And
Okay.
and then I'm really sorry. I'm kind of tired. Did I say Boy Scouts? Are we on for the Boy Scouts?
I haven't heard.
Okay, there was a request to the commission from one of the scout leaders to take an hour with Boy Scouts who are working on a, not conservation merit badge, but a civics merit badge to talk about what the town is doing on invasives. So I think, David, you and I were
Yeah, I've
happy to do
I've
that. and
reserved the
anyone else.
room on November 6th, so I need to hear back from, is it Stephen? Is that his name?
Yeah, well, I talked to him on the phone, so let me take the action to
Okay.
confirm that. And what time, David? I'm sorry?
I think that was 6:30. Double
Is that
check.
Thursday night?
6:30, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, Thursday of next week.
And I guess everyone's welcome to join. Is that the kind of thing, though, if there's 4 of us, it needs it? Well, there won't be 4 of us.
No, there wouldn't be four.
Right, yeah, if there were quorum, it'd have to be posted as a Conservation Commission meeting, but
Yeah, I've got I'm in court that
Yeah.
time.
I think you and me are fine.
Yeah,
Okay. So anyway, I'll stay tuned on that. But I
Okay,
thought that was a good outreach.
yeah, good.
And Christine will be
And,
there.
oh, I'm
so-
sorry, thank you.
Christine, yeah,
Yeah, and Christine was planning on joining.
Clancy, yeah, DPW, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
John, anything at Russell Mill?
Oh,
Quiet?
well used.
Yeah, yeah,
Bikers are up there.
yeah.
Must have a gang or something.
Oh, they're having a couple of events, at
Yeah.
least 2 this month,
Yeah, they-
Right.
or they did.
Oak Hill, Deep Brook?
Yeah, Saturday, you had a work crew up at
Oh, right.
at Deep Brook. There was a couple of dead trees leaning over the trail, and the volunteers removed them, cut them down, chopped them up, and moved them off the trail. So I want to thank those guys for doing that. And I guess that's about it up there. I know
Okay.
you want to talk about coolers.
And then go ahead on Coolis.
So, you go ahead and start with the.
Well, the only thing I was gonna say was, yeah, we did, Article 34 was in front of the town meeting last week, and it was defeated 56 no, 50 yes, with 9 abstain. And just to reiterate that we do have a plan for Coolis Farm. We've had this posted on our website. We did meet with the proponents of the article twice in September and October, and they were agreeing with our plan. And I believed after we met with them that they were gonna pull the article from town meeting, and it was still there, so I was not really sure why the article was there, but anyway, in any event.
Well, you did a good job
but
presenting.
Honestly, Carl, it really worked out well.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
a good forum.
Well,
A
and
lot of the reps were interested in what was going on. You gave a great update of what's happening, and people are really positive about what's going on in the plans.
Yeah. Well, and the good thing is, the volunteers that are involved there, they're anxious to get going on some of the work this weekend. I think they're talking about doing some work.
Yeah, they have a work party
And,
Saturday.
Yep,
A
yep.
lot of enthusiasm.
Yeah.
People are really
Yeah.
pumped up about the
Right.
property.
Yeah. So, and I sent the update. We had a meeting with DPW Monday morning out there.
Yesterday morning.
Yesterday morning.
Yeah, it was yesterday morning.
And went over the future plans, and actually, they're excited about, they're slowing down on some of their road work, so they have some time to do some work. So the best case, they're gonna start this week, but I would think because of the rain, it'll be more next week. They're gonna start pulling out the concrete that's up there. They're going to brush hog the field on the left-hand side, and start, during the winter, they'll be pulling rocks out as time allows. And hopefully, when they come up there to remove the concrete, they're going to maybe lay the groundwork for ADA trail from the trailhead over to the large tree on the right field to where there'll be a little picnic, handicapping picnic table. So they're gonna kind of try and lay the groundwork for that and finish off in the spring, yeah.
Just to the right of that.
And also, they're gonna be pulling out some telephone poles that are on the front of the site. There's a large water heater in the back of the site. We're gonna get that out of there. Actually, the volunteers have already been up there, and they've tipped up that water heater and to drain it of whatever water was in it. So the people are already up there working, pulling stuff out of the vernal pool.
Right.
Great.
So it's working out great, actually.
Good.
And the granite sign is being worked on.
And the kiosk has been there
Kiosk
for
is in.
2 or 3 weeks now.
Right,
Nice.
It's all good.
yep.
It's all good. All
And we
right.
also put everything onto our website, so
Yep.
people can look at that. It's a place to go to see where we're at with different things. If there's items that the volunteers can work on, they can go there and see things that, projects they want to do, if they want to do that. So I think, all in all, the meetings with the Friends of Coolest this summer, and actually going through the process of that town meeting, even though we were pretty much all in agreement, I think people get a better understanding. People know that the website is there, and it'll keep them updated. So I think it cleared up a lot of things, and we have a good thing going up there now.
Good. Great. Thank you, Bill.
Yep.
The only other thing I wanted to add on site updates is that at Warren Pole, we had a really busy day yesterday with the folks from Oxbow doing invasive management. So we had 3 people from Oxbow who were able to apply herbicide because they're certified to do this. And we had probably 5, 6, 7 people, volunteers, helping them. You can see I have to
This
say,
is the before, right?
yeah, this is a before. This is
Burning tree?
this is
Burning,
burning bush.
and this is
It
the
is
after.
beautiful this time of year.
It really is.
It really is, but it is invasive, and when you go to Warren Pole, you can really see how pervasive it is, invasive it is, because I'm almost certain nobody planted it there. It just blew in from the neighborhood, and it is all over the site. And
This is quite a difference. I mean, did
well,
you get rid of it all in this area?
No, this was no. This was just at the very beginning. They were just starting, but it was a busy day. It was a long. There were quite a few of us working there, and I'm really happy to see that happening. And I know they also were working on the Tree of Heaven and had already done a lot of spraying on bittersweet. And I'm as much as it's good to cut a lot of that stuff and pulling it, you can disturb the soil, which ends up maybe causing more invasives. I hate chemicals, but herbicide is the way to go for this stuff. It really is. It takes care of it once and for all. So that was good to see. I don't have anything else on any other sites.
What do they do with the bushes they pull out?
Everything,
Burning them?
no, we got everything off the trail, and we just push it off, and we're just gonna let it stay in place, and it's gonna be a little ugly for a year or two. But it'll deteriorate and,
It won't root.
no, it won't, no. We asked them specifically that, and they said no.
Are there any more workdays planned for this
Not
year?
right now. I know they had to look at their contract and understand how much time was left on it, so it may happen that we do another one in the next few weeks. It's actually, we still have some time in the, given the weather. Certain plants at certain times, you can still do this. You can still do cut and paint. It's called cut and paint. You know all that. Or what is it? Hack and squirt is the other one.
Yeah, that's
the
for
other
the
one.
trees of heaven, right?
Yeah, trees of heaven, hack and squirt. Burning bush is cut and paint, and so we're kind of on the back end of it, but I think you can still be pretty effective.
Carl?
Yeah, Peter.
So, can we buy some beetles for the loose strife in the spring?
That is on our list that
Yeah,
we
that-
want to do that with.
It's not that
Yeah,
expensive.
yeah, and we've asked Oxbow to help us manage that because for that meadow, we want to maintain that as a wet meadow,
Yeah.
but a wet meadow without loose strife and without some of the invasive, the gray willow, I think it is, and
Yeah.
there's some buckthorn maybe,
Yeah.
and certainly
Yeah.
there's bittersweet in there.
And I think that could be a really good place to do some pollinator enhancement as well.
Yep. It does really well with the Joe Pye weed and the goldenrod and a lot of other stuff. It
Yeah.
really has done well, but that purple loose strife went from 3 years ago, very little, to the last couple of years. It's,
Yeah, I just hope that doesn't mean there's something in the environment killing the beetles, but
Yeah.
I guess we'll learn.
okay, and do you have any agents report, David?
I was just going to talk about what, it was something you mentioned already that I was going to talk about, but you mentioned it. So, no.
Okay.
But I do just want to add that our newest member has a presentation to
Oh,
make.
Yes.
That's right, that's right.
I thought you had forgotten about it until I saw it pop
No.
up, and I was like, oh, no. Well, thank you for humoring me. So, this past Saturday, I attended the MACC Fall Conference, which I guess is a different theme for each one. They hold 2 every year, and it was At Home with Nature, Balancing the Needs of Housing, Energy, and Environmental Protection. Definitely talked heavily about housing and the future of housing with the state of Massachusetts. So there was a morning keynote speaker, Kim Driscoll, who's the Lieutenant Governor of Massachusetts. She did discuss that there is obviously a housing shortage in Massachusetts, and one of the key points that I caught,
Previous one, David?
yeah,
previous
one
one.
back, that's all right.
Sorry.
That's okay. Stated that Massachusetts was 200,000 housing units short to meet the state's projection for their upcoming goal of 5 years. She wanted to, thank us directly, conservation commissioners and conservation, they're people on the ground, first line of defense type thing, and that we're helping policymakers implement, housing and addressing housing availability and affordability with minimal impacts on the environment, and that we're kind of key partners there. Any questions on her or anything? Cool. All right, second person was the afternoon keynote speaker, Julie Wormser, and she had quite the resume, if you will, but she's currently holds the Chief Climate Officer position in the city of Cambridge. I was surprised, I didn't know, but you guys might know, that the city of Cambridge was backfilled as it was mostly marshland, which is now becoming an issue of flooding due to climate change, because climate change is significant. And that Cambridge was awarded a grant through FEMA, that they're currently utilizing about $90 million through that federal grant on a 100-year storm plan for flooding and saltwater intrusions that are currently affecting housing and the drinking water areas that they have with the Mystic River and things like that. The other interesting thing I learned, that any new construction that they're building in the city, not any, but some commercial properties, they're requiring large, like, stormwater catch basins underneath these properties to help with flooding, and hold large amounts of water, you know, when they do have these, storms. She did say that when she was younger, that precipitation was a lot more spread out over time, where you'd get rain every 2 to 3 days, but now my generation and younger are starting to see larger, you know, rainstorms coming in all at once with larger amounts of rainfall that is attributing to this flooding. And then a key point that she brought up was, you know, Cambridge is currently looking at building for restoration, not resilience. So rather than building to kind of wall this off and, you know, deal with these issues as they come, rather than being, you know, reactive, being proactive and utilizing conservation as, you know, restoration, right? Rather than preparing for, well, this is just going to keep happening. We need to kind of change, you know, how we're building things or what we're doing to mitigate flooding, but utilizing things like wetlands and marshlands to kind of hold water instead of building these catch basins. And we can move on to our next one. Thank you. The first class I took was called Nuts and Bolts of Permitting 40B Projects for a Conservation Commission. It was an attorney that spoke. He was with McGregor, Laguerre, and Stevens. And some key points from that. Conservation commissions are ultimately responsible for enforcing the State Wetlands Protection Act regarding 40B, which you guys know that. The zoning board being responsible for town bylaws related to zoning and 40B, reminding us that we are two separate boards. As you guys know, that kind of was a hot topic issue, it seemed like, with a lot of other towns in class about, you know, who does what or who has say over what. There seemed to be some thoughts on that.
Friction?
Yes, some might say. And then, you know, local bylaws are suggested to be stricter than state standards, such as our buffer zones and things like that. There was one example given during the class. Bedford, Massachusetts had an case against Princeton Development, so just a quick summary on that. But in 2001, Princeton Development applied to the Bedford Zoning Board for a comprehensive permit under Chapter 40B to build affordable housing project. Proposed development included significant number of housing units, originally 186. And the land in Bedford had environmental constraints like wetlands, resource areas. Bedford opposed the project, and because the project was proposed under 40B, the developer sought to bypass local zoning constraints, assuming eligibility under statutes per the housing provisions. And then, you know, Bedford kind of fought back. Ultimately, they came to an agreement that they would downsize to about 156 units, so everyone was kind of happy on that. We can keep moving on. This is one of the, this was the more important class that I took at Peter's suggestion, so let's see here. Accessory dwelling unit and seasonal community designations. Unfortunately, it was very heavy on the seasonal communities, which we don't really have here in town. However, there were several things brought up about, you know, ADUs and the updates on that. Just give me the papers here. So, this came about, Carolyn Smith, same law firm. She was from Medford, and they are city council for Medford. But she was great, super impressed by her. So this new kind of ADU update, if you will, was brought on by the Affordable Housing Act, which was enacted in 2024. I believe they said February of 2024, which it kind of expanded on ADUs. So it's authorizing you know, significant funding for housing production, preservation, rehabilitation. The Act amended zoning bylaws to enable things like easier creation of ADUs in single-family zones, and then, you know, reflecting on a broader effort of increasing housing options, reducing regulatory barriers, special rules in seasonal communities. So the new update for ADUs, let's see here. So I don't want to get too contextual with law here and bore you guys, but basically, the main point here was that our zoning bylaws are conservation, bylaws, and the State Wetlands Protection Act. This new accessory dwelling unit update does not basically say what we have in place is no good. However, what we have in place cannot contradict these new updates. So currently, the state of Massachusetts views ADUs as allowed by right and does not need special permits. Only a building permit is needed, but it still needs to meet Title V, building code, things like that. That being said, if anybody currently has an ADU on their property, it's grandfathered in. That's not considered an accessory dwelling unit under these updates, so they are allowed an additional ADU on their property under this new update. Also, the name is self-explanatory. It has to be an accessory to something, so there has to be a primary residence already established. However, the owner of the property does not have to have that as their primary residence, so there's no residency requirement for either the ADU or the primary home. Encouraging tiny homes and undersized lots in seasonal towns. There was a lot of Cape towns, Cape Cod towns there, Barnstable County, that were talking about these tiny homes on wheels that could be wheeled in and out. There was a huge talk about compostable toilets versus cesspools. That was a whole thing. And then, most importantly, that it must have a separate entrance. So, for example, if someone repurposed their attic as an ADU, they need to have a separate entrance. They can't cut through the house to get out. And that it has a max 900 square foot or half of the current existing dwelling. So if your house is 1,000 square feet, it would be 500, whatever's smaller. And then I talked about the no occupancy requirement. One parking space currently, there's nothing in the update about parking requirements more or less than that. And municipalities cannot cap the number of these in the communities, because this is the state's kind of answer, being seen as low-impact housing in a response to the housing crisis.
Just a couple of questions, Ally?
Sure, I'll try my best to answer them, but I'm
Okay.
not,
So it says public comment open until October 31st,
Yes.
2025. But the law's already been passed.
So
right?
it's been passed, but they used some type of legal verbiage, and you might be able to talk better than I can to this, about these being like draft laws or a draft of some kind, that it's open to public comment until Halloween, about, people wanting to update or give suggestions on this. I don't know if you have something.
Do you know anything about that?
Crystal Valley. Have him-
Hey, there he is. All right.
Someone who might know the answer.
Yeah, the first time the state passed the law, there was a challenge in court that it wasn't implemented correctly. So essentially, they had to go through the process again, and so that's why technically it's already been passed, and towns are following it, but they have to go through the process again to essentially recertify the law.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
And one other question, Ally. There's nothing in the law that says that ADUs are exempt from local wetland bylaws like 40B.
Right. So the state act, right, the Wetlands Bylaw Act, and then our bylaws, right? That's, obviously they were suggested that we should review, not we, but the town council should review what we have in place, see if it matches up or, kind of goes in tandem with these new updates. And they were saying that, again, that this doesn't trump what we have locally, such as the 50-foot, but it can't contradict what this ADU thing says, if that answers your question.
Okay, so like you have to allow a parking space.
Right, yeah.
But ADUs in our buffer zones will come before the commission, right? And,
Oh, yeah.
we still,
We still have our bylaws. We
yeah,
still
there's
have
just a few exceptions, like if the state requires one parking, we'll have to cross that bridge, but, okay.
Yeah. And then basically just some kind of reflection or local impact or a conclusion, if you will, but, you know, again, the bylaws should kind of adapt, and the state protection should also, you know, kind of adapt to what's going on. Hopefully that people have had the long-term projection to see how these are gonna kind of come together. But again, Conservation Commission vital to everything, and then ADUs and 40Bs, expanding housing while maintaining environmental protection. And then, you know, they definitely harped on coordination between ZBA, planning, all those different boards. Yeah, I think that was it. Oh, well, there you go. Yeah. Housing, environmental protections are not competing goals. And then, you know, between local and state officials, they define substantial growth of housing, in that, you know, resilient communities through responsible land use. Again, kind of the main theme was that they're looking for long-term solutions to affordable housing or lack thereof, basically, while taking care of, you know, what we have, the land. Yeah, that should be it. I think there
Yeah,
only
that was
5
good.
for it.
Yeah.
Wow,
That was-
nice.
that was
Yeah, I
really
was
good.
impressed with a lot of the speakers, yeah.
I was impressed with your presentation.
Yeah,
Yeah, I felt bad about not going, but I
didn't have
I got it all through Ally, so.
I'm still waiting on the slide decks from those 2 classes I talked about, so when I get those, if you
Takes a
want me to
while.
forward them, I will.
I
I've already
would,
sent an
yeah.
email to the MACC, so,
Yeah, it does take them a while.
yeah.
It's always like weeks later.
Yes, they do upload them to, like, previous conventions. They're all on their website if you need to go back and look at older dates, but last I checked, they hadn't done 2024 or 2025 yet, so we'll see.
Thank you very
I'm
much.
welcome.
That
You're
was
welcome.
great.
Yeah.
Very good job.
Thank you.
yeah.
Glad you went.
Yeah, thank you.
And next, David, we are looking at this CR, this conservation restriction for 255 Princeton Street.
Yes.
I
So,
think we should talk about it. I would like to not sign it yet. I started reading it and having some experience with CR. Is there a time constraint on this?
well, I don't think so, but I mean, it's really a covenant, not a CR. It's not a CR like, say, the Warren Poll is a CR pursuant
through
to
the state, it's-
Chapter 184, right?
Yeah.
So that's just one thing to keep in mind. But if you'd like to take some more
I
time to
just,
review it. Chris.
I read it once and I went like, yeah, I'd like to read this a little more.
Yeah, no,
Personally.
I mean, I mean, this was
looks-
started before I got here. So
Yes, yes. It does look
it's
pretty
not-
boilerplate. It does
Yeah.
look pretty straightforward, but knowing that, having walked around that, I drove by there just yesterday, and there's a lot of green space in there, and I want to think about this a little bit and make sure that we approach this right and do this right. Because that site gets a lot of attention in town, too.
Yes. I actually had a couple of comments before you signed it anyway. So, I mean, the first one is that, you know, it had a baseline documentation report, but it really requires annual monitoring reports, as you know, just like any CR. So I think the commission should think seriously about requesting, you know, the funds, say, to do that for the next 5 years.
Yeah.
Or 5 years after it goes into effect. I also think it would be reasonable to ask the property owner to expand, you know, the area that's being restricted. Right now, it's just the wetland. It's just the actual flagged wetland. I mean, there's no upland.
There was a lot of upland when we
There
were
is,
there.
yeah. There is a lot of upland out there, and there's a lot of good upland habitat.
Yep.
So I don't think it's unreasonable to ask the owner to, you know, consider maybe expanding, you know, at some point expanding the geographical area, the CR. And then just the other thing I was going to mention, so if you have been up there, you can see that they've been working on the invasives. And for anyone who's interested in invasives, they're doing a really good job. I mean, they just completely grubbed all of the bittersweet that
This is
was
down
growing
by
in
the
the ground.
pond?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
Yeah.
That I mean, it's. I mean, I don't know if there was much else there besides bittersweet, but But now, since they're going to be actively, managing it, natives will grow back. But I think that they're doing a really good job
Yeah,
on that.
we remember that site well from our
Yeah.
sidewalk a couple of years ago.
Poison
Yep.
ivy.
4 or 5 years ago.
Probably was, because you had just joined the commission back then. Yeah.
Yeah, they had a little excavator, a small, real small one, down there pulling all that out. Did a nice job.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so let's, we all have a copy of it now.
Continue it till the
Yeah,
25th?
Yeah, we'll
Okay.
we'll plan to sign, I don't think we'll have any trouble signing it, or,
Okay.
But-
Well, let me know any questions or concerns. Yeah, definitely.
yeah. Okay, and that, now we have minutes. Did you have anything else, David? That was it?
No.
Okay. Meeting minutes, August 26th, September 9th, and September 23rd. That leaves us with just one more that's open, and after tonight, 2 more. Okay, good. So if, let's see, August 26th, Peter and Ally were out. I did look at these.
Make a motion that we approve the minutes for August 26, 2025.
Second.
I hear a motion from Chris and a second from Bill Vines. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So abstain from Ally and Peter. Thank you very much. Second one is September 9th, and we were all here. Is that the one that you weren't here?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
There's a data point.
Is there,
wonder if there's a correlation.
Yeah, correlation
There's a data point.
I move, Mr. Chairman, that we approve the minutes for September 9th, 2025.
Motion from Chris. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from John. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much. And lastly, we have September 23rd. Again, everyone was present. Scott, well, yeah, that's right. Boy, that was our last meeting, and Scott made that presentation. Is that right? No, 2
No.
meetings ago. 2 meetings ago. But still, that went fast. Yeah, that
I
was.
mean, that was, we went to 9:55?
Yeah.
It was a 10-pager.
Oh, that's down from 11. I edited.
Yeah. I move, Mr. Chairman, that we approve the minutes of September 23rd, 2025.
Motion from Chris. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Ally. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And motion passes. So we have 3 accepted meeting minutes new into our record. Vivian, thank you very much for that. And I will take a motion to adjourn. Our next meeting is not until November 25th, which is 2 nights prior to Thanksgiving, if I'm not mistaken. So a lot of water will go under the bridge between now and then.
We only have 2 meetings at the end of the year.
Yeah.
And then,
Wow.
and then 1 or 2 more in December.
Disappointing.
Well, do you
last
want to meet on the
meeting will be
23rd?
December 9th. No, I don't think we want one on the 23rd.
Okay.
We
I
have
don't think so.
Christmas shopping.
Huh? Yeah, we, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
I move to adjourn.
Motion from Chris, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Aye.